That's odd. What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense. And yeah, my gadget just did something that I had never seen it do before. Rather, I would say the YouTube prompter or whatever did something I ain't never seen before. They're always fooling with stuff. So, if you are joining my show tonight, first of all, let me know that you can hear me. And if that's the case, then we'll move forward. If we can't get that right, we can't go nowhere else. I mean, if you can't deal with the fundamentals, we're going to have a problem. Don't be coming up to me talking about, yo, man, I'm thinking about going out for football and you got problems walking. I'm like, let me see you walk down the sidewalk and come back. I mean, do you realize you look like you got two left feet? Then maybe football isn't your calling. See, you got to start with the baby steps. Baby steps. So, I'm happy to be here today, and I hope we're able to get a whole bunch of stuff done. Now, let's go through some preliminaries. Hit that like button. Share my videos. Follow me on all the other platforms. As you can see, I'm in the chat. Whoa. Nice catch. Whatever a notification just popped up. Yeah, that let me know. Turn this mess off before we even get started. Because it will start some stuff. Never fails. As soon as you start doing something, beep, 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 beep. Now, I am also watching the chat with my other alternative channels. So if you're following me right now, I'm about to type in, hey, y'all. Reason I'm doing that is so that people can see the other channel and perhaps subscribe to it. Sometimes people don't want to go looking for stuff, so you want to make it as convenient as possible. Now, we got some stuff to cover tonight. Tonight is my normal Wednesday night, which it appears that I'm starting to do more and more live shows randomly, almost a everyday thing now. But who knows? At least I like to have that luxury of not doing a live show one day if I don't feel like it. But Wednesday, I try to stay consistent from 7:30 to 9:30 so that this way you all can count on where you can find me. And all that. Now, let's get ready to rumble because we got some interesting stuff to get into tonight, y'all. Tucker's back. And if you don't have a tinfoil hat, I'm going to need you to go and get one as we get started, okay? But we always got to start off with creepy, sleepy, sleazy, slimy, sloppy Joe. Now, somebody said buffer. Am I buffering? Don't look like I'm buffering. I think I'm good. I think I'm bufferless. What? Real gorilla. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. Gorilla in here. Gorillas in here. Now, guys, we got to check in and see what's going on with the creep. They done let the creep out. And whenever the creep is on the loose, we got to keep an eye on him just in case he do something creepy. We can catch him. Like, man, don't do that. What you doing, Joe? Stop sniffing those kids, man. So let's see what Creepy Sleepy's up to. Always up to shenanigans, that's for sure. Oh, okay. Football team there. Stay right there. Stay right there.
So I've been waiting for this. Sorry.
Now, what is it that made that young man on that football team feel like he needed to tell Creepy, Sleepy, Sleazy, Slimy, Sloppy Joe to stay right there? That must mean he's observing his behavior and he finds his behavior to make him have that built-in protect your grandfather or grandmother. Yeah, that's what that was. This was one of those, man, I feel like I got to do my duty. If I'm in the grocery store and I see an old lady trying to get a can or something, ma'am, you want me to get that for you? Or if she seems a little confused, right here, do you want to get right here, ma'am? Just stay right there. You got any other questions? These are reactions that you have when you feel somebody is lacking cognitively. You try to beat them to it. You always assume they don't know what their responsibility is or what they're doing. And that's exactly what they had to tell Joe. You stay right there. Have you ever seen anybody to go visit the president have to tell him, stay right there? He should know his cues. He should know his marks. He should know how the program functions. But apparently Joe doesn't, which is a problem. So that man's instinct kicked in. These are things that naturally kick in when you're around, say, a woman in distress or a child in distress. We got these built-in mechanisms like, yo, something don't look right about that. That woman just fell and hit her knee. Let me go help her up. That kid over there is crying on the curb, and I need to find out why. This old man is looking confused, and I need to find out why. I need to go over to him and say, stay right here. Don't move. We'll get you the help you need. Maybe. So what else is going on with these dirty days?
Tired of smart guys. I gotta admit.
You see that? That's what Joe's about. That man, sick and tired of smart guy. Right there in front of everybody. He don't care. He's Joe Biden. See, and that's another example of when you get older. You don't care. See, that's why old folks sometimes will go out and they'll have sneakers on with like black high leggings, like stockings or something. You're going, why you got these black dress socks on? You got sneakers on. They don't care. With shorts, throw a fishing hat up top. You know, might go with a polo shirt and some pants. They don't match nothing. It's just whatever. They blow their nose in public, dig up their nose, all of that stuff. They don't care. It's like, yo, I'm old. I'll do whatever I want. That's what that guy just did. He didn't care that he was on TV. Just, you could at least blown the nose and then talked afterwards. But you're talking and blowing your nose at the same time. But that's Joe. Which, the apple don't fall far from the tree. Now, we got this black milk dud head that Marjorie Taylor Greene brought up on my show a couple days ago, where she was saying, this dude, I'm a little concerned about him. He seems angry. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about this man. He seems angry. And this man got out there and he said that Marjorie Taylor Greene was putting his life in danger, y'all. Yeah. So I almost let this one slip by. I saw it like last week and I was like, oh, I need to get to that one. Jamal Bowman. And I said, man, you know what? Today's an appropriate time to go ahead and let this milk that head have it. So here he is getting mad because Andrew Cuomo was a little concerned about DJ Bragg. DJ Bragg, that's what I'm calling him. Yeah, how about Fat Albert? That guy, Albert Bragg, his butt going to subpoena Trump to have him come all the way up to Manhattan. So Andrew Cuomo, I guess since he's no longer on the Democrat roster, he decides to say, yeah, that's wrong. But Milk That Head had a problem with it.
Let me also say this. What the hell?
No, what I need to say is for some reason, that head looks like a chocolate covered almond. That man's head is unnaturally shaped like a big fat egg. He's looking like that dude off of MSNBC. Now, I know I got a bald head, but you know, you got to have like, it flattens out. It should never have a perfect oval. That right there looks just like an egg. I could take an egg and put it right next to his head and you'll see no difference. So let's go ahead and finish hearing what this milk dud head with the lisp has to say.
What is Governor Andrew Cuomo doing right now?
Oh, can you answer that question? I have a lot of people I want to ask that question of, and you've just put it out there, so let's not have it be rhetorical. What is he doing?
What is he doing? He is carrying, Governor Andrew Cuomo is carrying water for MAGA Republicans right now.
That's what you get when you're in that Democrat cult and you decide to call it for what it is. This is the reaction you get. They don't tolerate dissent. So now, just because Cuomo has enough common sense to see that this is a crazy behind indictment, this dude right here says, you're carrying water. You're carrying water for MAGA folks and stuff like that. How about he's just calling it for what it is? It's a sham.
Undermining the investigation of DA Bragg, going...
Yo, you ain't allowed to do that. Yeah, you ain't allowed to undermine investigations of folks that prosecute Republicans, right? Now, any other prosecution, any other defendant, any other prosecutor, if they was going after some black kid that just shot somebody or got himself, you know, jacked up by the police or something, they would be going after the prosecutor. They would be undermining them. They'd be saying, we want a conviction. They'll be doing all of that stuff, man. All types of intimidating tactics. There's no law in America that says you can't disagree with a prosecutor or else you're undermining his the rule of law. No, I don't agree with that prosecutor. He's foul. That dude is calling Trump way up there for nothing. It's politically motivated. And just because Cuomo called it out, Milk Dud here has the nerve to go on MSNBC and try to talk about some. He's undermining DA Bragg. What else is he doing, Milk Dud?
After President Biden on how the president has handled the border, even though there's been no change in border policy since the president has taken office.
Excuse me? What did you just say?
Even though there's been no change in border policy since the president has taken office.
Now, do Democrats even check what's going on? Or are they just pre-programmed to come out? Racism, sexism, xenophobia, homophobia, discrimination, what else? The transgender rights, what we need to know stuff? Well, that wasn't in the job description. I thought that when I applied to be a Democrat politician, it just said activism and be angry and emotional. So I got to know stuff? This dude doesn't even know what's going on at the border. Or he just assumes that whoever's watching that raggedy network doesn't know what's going on at the border. They don't know the policies and the changes that were put in place that's causing this crisis. Apparently he doesn't either. And if he does, he's lying now. So we better go ahead and check his work.
Let's roll the tape.
The idea you can't even seek asylum on American soil? Can't even seek asylum on American soil? When did that happen? Trump. It's wrong.
You're going to change that?
Yes, I am.
Oh, well, that's one. There it is. There's one, Milk Dud. Did you see that one? Okay, so he changed that?
You know, that clip that you have, seeking asylum in the United States should be something that, the president believed in. But so far, that Trump policy is still effective.
So wait, let's look again. Oh. So here we go. Change. Some separated families reunited. Okay. Let's see. Travel bans reversed. Ooh, yeah, that's not cool. Rules modified on deportation enforcement. Why would they do that? Interesting. Border wall construction and funding halted. Steps taken to protect DACA and higher refugee camps. So you're building bigger camps. You are protecting DACA, and you also changed the rules of asylum. You now made it easy. Now they don't have to do what they were doing under Trump, sneaking in, going ahead and threatening. We're coming anyway. I don't care what Donald Trump says. The Democrats told us we have rights to America, so get out of our way, underlay. So when they were coming under Trump, they had to sneak. The Border Patrol was trying to hold it down and keep these folks from coming across. But under Biden, they just come right up to the Border Patrol. Not to mention over here, because this video is a little older, Title 41 is gone. There you go. Remain in Mexico migrant protection protocols. That's still in place, I guess. Or is it? So it appears that Mexico's like, look, we'll keep them for about 5 minutes and then we're sending them straight on across the border. Because I see a huge increase in illegal immigrants coming to the country. Now, what could account for this then, Milk Dud? If all the policies stayed in place, that mean the results would continue to be the same. But like my man Ted Cruz said, you know what? You see this line that goes straight up? You know why it's going up? That's when you got in, mucus. So when the Biden administration got in, after saying things like, if I were them, I'd surge the border. They did exactly what he said. And now those numbers up and you got Milk Dud straight up line on TV.
Even though there's been no change in border policy since the president has taken office.
That milkhead brings all the...
You liar!
He is a liar. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Other changes since Dems took over? Like what? Like what?
Tanya Editorel, Mayor Brandon Johnson will be here at the graduation ceremony this morning.
Brandon Johnson. Brandon. Y'all, anybody know that name? That's the other grown man with the mohawk. That's who that is. The story behind mayor that they put in place after swapping out another sorry mayor. That guy. So let's see how he's doing as his first week or two, maybe a month on the job.
At Navy Pier, this after another especially violent weekend in the city.
On his watch?
By our count, 52 people were hurt in shootings across Chicago, 10 of whom died.
It is time for Chicago to come alive! Come alive, Chicago!
Come alive, Chicago. Don't he look like a big old mountain of sweetness? It is time. If you don't get rid of that semi-mohawk on top of your head, either rock the mohawk or not. I don't want the cone head look. What is that mess right there? But here he is with his gentle self. It is time to come alive. No. Folks are dying there. Folks are dying there. So how are you keeping folks alive when folks are dying? That right there is nothing more than Democrats going out there and trying to seem like they're so inspiring and it's about to be changes. No. Nothing is changing. What we're seeing is things are getting worse in Chicago. Now, if you can't do the basics as a mayor or a governor or a president, which is secure the safety of your citizens, then you don't deserve that job. That should have been this man's number one priority. He should have came in straight off the bench. Like, look, let's boost security. Let's get some folks on the streets. We want informants. We want people, binoculars, cameras. I hate to say it, Chicago's at that point where you got to do something drastic to deter this mess. It ain't going to fix itself, Brandon. It's time to come alive.
One of those victims was Terry A. Adams. She was one of 7 people shot during a gathering Saturday night in the Austin neighborhood for her boyfriend who died in a car crash.
Wow. So these Democrat cities just can't get right. Just can't get right. It's all in their cities. Nobody's making these connections. Nobody's able to put together like, dude, I just realized all of the problems that folks be complaining, trying to make it seem like it's just distributed across the United States are really condensed to Democrat cities. What's the connection, y'all? What's the connection? Same thing when it comes down to them pushing racism all the time. They forget that not all those white people back then owned slaves and was supporting racism. They wanted to be equally distributed across all the white folks. No. Republicans didn't own slaves. It was Democrats. But when it's convenient, then everybody. It's happening everywhere. This is an epidemic. No, this is an epidemic in your areas, created by y'all, like that other one that fell out of the sky.
The kids all just said they was all out there dancing, singing,
having a good time. Then rat-a-tat-tat.
And all they heard was gunshots. They don't know, they ain't seen nobody, they ain't come no ways or anything. They just heard gunshots. That's it. So everybody is running.
Yeah, because that's what black folks do. We run, then look later. Ask questions once we get to safety. What happened, man? Who was that? You all right? You good? Anybody get shot? I hope little Momo and them made it out. So that's Chicago right now. And this guy's up there talking like, it's time to come alive. I fear for those cities, but you could only have so much pity on them because a lot of them are victims of just Democrat manipulation over the years to where you can't even run as a conservative in these cities. You know, you'll be just throwing money in the air if you went up to Chicago. Like, all right, I'm a Republican. I should try it, honestly. I mean, you know, because I feel that if you gave me a big enough platform, I could convince these folks and highlight all the dirt and foulness that these Democrats have brought to that city and give a plan to solve the issues. This man, I want to hear his plan to deal with all this crime, gang violence, and all of that stuff. Instead of talking about we don't want to demonize the youth and they're hungry. That's why they're looting and shooting and killing and robbing. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear this man talking about we have to service the illegal immigrants. You get up there and you highlight the difference between that stupidity and somebody who's sane and stop them from always trying to go into I just don't feel like I could vote for a Republican or a conservative because of their what? You're not racist? Oh yeah, you're black. But you make sense. So honestly, if I didn't despise how dirty politics is, I would do a social experiment. I would say I'm moving to Chicago and running for office. Dang on it. But nah, I ain't gonna do that because they might unleash Antifa on me. But let's finish hearing what's happening up there with all these dead folks.
The mayor doesn't live far from where that shooting happened.
Your safety is my top priority.
I just want to know why.
Your safety is my top priority. Is it Brandon? Is it Conehead? Now, this young lady right here probably would be called a sellout or an Auntie Tom, something like that. Because listen what she got to say about black folks versus the black folks I saw up in Chicago about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when all of those young adults were out in the middle of the street tearing up everything. Listen to her.
Why everything negative and uncouth has to be labeled black culture. I also want to know why advocating for us to go in public looking like we care about ourselves and how we look is deemed as respectability politics.
Yeah, what's up with that? Why can't we have standards as black people, huh? Why is it that when you want to go into your job with an afro this big and a pick in the back of it, and then they say, sir, could you maybe trim your hair down a little and take the pick out? Man, you racist, man. This discriminate. No, there's dress codes. There's social acceptances. You don't go into work with nails that go out this far and curl up under. You don't go into work with your pants down to your ankles sagging. Nobody wants to see your dirty drawers. You comb that head of yours, man. Dang on it. Shave a bit. Throw on something nice. Spruce up under the arms, something like that. You don't go out there looking a mess and then get mad at society when they judge you. Because even if they don't say nothing, it is human nature to take snapshots and make judgments based on their initial perception of someone. So yeah, she got a good point. But then when you get a little too sophisticated as a black person, then all of a sudden you're a sellout. That's what I heard. Listen what else she says.
We should not be condoning and advocating for clear signs of depression because the only times I've ever been raggedy in public is when something was off with me mentally. Going out of bed in the morning and going in public with a bonnet and pajamas on and house shoes is unacceptable.
Totally unacceptable. Don't you let me catch you out and dang on Walmart with those big old sponge rollers in your hair. The ones back in the day your mom used to have. They were pink or something. I don't even think they make them anymore. You snap the thing on them. Yeah, if you a dude and getting a Jerry curl, which used to take about 7 hours, and you talk about I'm about to run in the store with my curl bag on and my red and yellow rollers in my hair. Don't you come out like that, man. You better send somebody else into that store. Dang on it. So she got a point. And then you got the nerve to be using correct English. When I was a teacher, I would be talking, and the kids, man, they cracked me up. High schoolers, man, Mr. Ellaby, man, why you using all them big words and stuff, man? I'm like what? What are you talking about? Huh? Just because I said rubbish instead of trash? Huh? Something like that? Is that too big for you? You don't want to expand your vocabulary? Nah, man, it's just you talking white. What is that? What's that? What you mean I'm talking white? How about I'm using correct English? That's talking white? But yet you got Democrat advocates out there that's pushing for black people to lower the standard in regards to education, in regards to how they speak, in regards to understanding math and all of that mess. You got them out there advocating for that. You got them out there talking about they're discriminating against me because I want to wear an asymmetric hairstyle with a peacock in the back of my head, and I'm the front person at the store or the company. People come in, I'm sitting there blowing bubbles. I got all kind of stuff in my hair spiraling out all over the place. Nobody wants that in the front lobby. And it would be the same if you're white. If I owned a company and a punk rocker came in talking about I want the secretary position and he got a mohawk this high, it's colored all types of colors. He's got shotgun holes in his ears, a bone through his nose, tattoos all on his face, dang on it, fangs, talking about I want to be the receptionist. I don't think I could use your services. You must not be aware of how to conduct yourself to make yourself more marketable in society. And this woman right here is addressing that. And instead of talking to our young black kids about that, they're talking to them about all kind of other stuff. Racism, gender neutrality, all of that crap.
Uncouth behavior, no matter what race of people does it.
Thank you.
And going out in public looking well put together like I care about myself doesn't mean that I'm trying to be like white people or I'm trying to get white people to respect me.
Word.
Maybe it's because I respect me.
Word.
Let's make
have some respect. So when I see people like Brandon, who we were just watching, make excuses for all of those black kids that I saw up there in Chicago tearing up stuff, shooting, jumping on cars for no reason, talking about some don't judge the kids and this and that. Most of them went down there just to get out. It was hot and stuff like that. When I see that, it burns me up. You know why? Because It shows the worst side of black folks. I happen to be black, just in case y'all didn't know it. Just in case you didn't know it. I happen to be black, and I am proud to be black. I'm not proud in a sense of thinking I'm better than anybody else, but I enjoy my blackness. Dang on it. I enjoy not having to put on suntan lotion. I was out there, laying out in the sun today, sitting with old man Teddy, and soaking it up. Didn't have to worry about skin cancer. None of that stuff. Yeah, I'm proud that I got some built-in things that come with black folks when they building us on the assembly line. All right, put the boogie gene in that one right there, insert that, and yeah, I got the boogie gene. All of that mess. Quick twitch muscles. Yeah, it's perks that come with it. Rhythm, a little bit bass in the voice. I like being black. What I don't like is seeing black folks misrepresent black folks after all the years of working so hard to throw off stereotypes and stigmatisms and all of that, prejudices. And then you see all of those kids out there that aren't stopping to think, we look bad. We're looking like a bunch of wild animals right now. Uncontrollable wild animals. They need to have more pride. They need to say, man, you know what? This isn't a good look for us. Right now, we're walking into every stereotype that any real racist might have had about us. And that mayor and other black folks that have enough sense to know that's not a good look, they went ahead and they kind of condoned it indirectly. Yeah, don't want to really call it for what it is, but I would. Oh boy. So let's finish hearing what she got to say about black people. Then we're going to hear from another black person that, I'm assuming they're going to be mad at because he didn't say bad things about Donald Trump.
Self-respect's a part of black culture.
I don't like the way this stuff is going, right?
My boy Mike.
You know what? Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. You know what? I'm the best there's ever. Yeah, I can't be beat. I can't be beat. I'm the greatest.
So let's go ahead and hear what Mighty Mike is talking about Donald Trump.
But I like Donald Trump.
What?
You know,
Me too, Mike.
Donald Trump stood up for me when they talked bad about me, and people said, "What do you think about this convicted rapist?" Said he was for you. He responded. He said, "I'm a tie." He accepted my vouching for it. He accepted that and said, "Mike is my friend," and I respected that.
Mm-hmm. It's hard not to.
And I couldn't. I listened. And he said things, and people went against him. And black people went against him, and I understand that too. Some of the things that went on and why they were upset.
With you, in regards to you?
No, with regards to black people in general.
Right.
All the stuff, Charlottesville and everything. But listen.
And even with that, Mike still is under the impression of Charlottesville. I guess they still saying that Trump never condemned the white supremacists. This is how powerful mis and disinformation is. This is how powerful media influence is. Now, Mike is loyal to Trump. Trump's loyal to Mike. They're friends. But even him, knowing that he has access to talk to Trump, he knows Trump, he probably could call up Trump right now. Even with all of that, he still is under the impression, I guess, that maybe Trump didn't handle that properly. So it goes to show that the media is powerful. Like Malcolm X said, they can make you love who they want you to love and hate who they want you to hate. But nonetheless, somebody said condemned totally. He did. But listen to what Mike got to say, because see, this bum across from him hates Trump.
Listen, you look at a guy like me, where I came from, all the felons I got, this guy's president, he's a nominee. He's just campaigning. He's not president yet, but he's just campaigning. He says all these cool things. I like Mike Tyson. He likes me. We're both, it's good stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's campaign. And then what am I going to say? Kill him. He's a racist pig. I can't find myself to say that.
Right.
I can't say that.
Thank you, Mike. See, so what Mike is highlighting here, because the word on the street is Donald Trump hates all black people. Super duper racist. Forget all the video footage of him hanging out with black folks. Forget him posted up with Rosa Parks receiving awards for helping out black folks. Forget that. Forget all of that mess. Mike Tyson should be the first example of Donald Trump saying, get this guy away from me. He's a convicted rapist. And you know what? Since he's not making money anymore boxing and my hotels, I don't want nothing to do with him. Nothing. But instead, Trump goes against the norm. He doesn't throw people away just because the masses make a determination on him. He operates based on his own convictions. When they tried to say Trump was trying to get the young men in New York thrown into jail, what were they called? The something for or whatever. The young men who I guess they thought had raped this white lady. And Trump wanted justice. Now, I talked to a man from Manhattan back when I used to have my call-in line. He used to call himself Mr. Nobody. He was Latino. And he said, look, we all thought those young men were guilty. I mean, the information that they were giving out, the DA's information, we all thought that they were guilty. Blacks, whites, Latinos, and it looked like they were getting off. Therefore, Trump wanted justice. Just like I thought and still do think Hunter Biden and Joe Biden is guilty. Bottom line, I want to see justice. You would never get me to say, well, the media told me he didn't do it, so I guess I'm going to operate off of what I know, my convictions, and so on and so forth. But they want to make it seem like the only motive Trump had was because they were black kids. That was it. Yeah, I want to see justice just because they're black. Just because they're black. Same thing here. If he felt Mike Tyson shouldn't have went to the slammer because of what we're about to hear, I'm sure that he stuck with Mike because of his convictions. He wasn't worried about the stigmatism of supporting Mike, because you know what they'll do? You're guilty by association. Oh, you're still friends with Mike Tyson? Then you must support rape. That's what it is. You support rape. Why are you hanging out with rapists? But they won't say nothing about all of the Clintons and all of them hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. They don't make those associations. They don't sit back and say, well, you guys were all buddies with Harvey Weinstein and all of that. But nonetheless, they do that with Trump.
Right. I can't say that.
Right.
I'm not going to be one of those guys to say that.
Thank you, Mike.
And if people are like, well, Mike is bugging, Mike's just saying
I
like,
can't say that. I can't listen. A lot of my people from my community turns against me, against the attorney back on me for my rape conviction. I don't want to hear that shit. Come on, I'm just keeping it real with you.
nah, I hear you. That's what Mike, you're so genuine.
I don't want to hear you. And somebody said, I'm with Mike Tyson. He's running for his presidency. He didn't say him. I don't want no racist campaign for me.
Now, you hear that? I'm glad that Trump ran. And I'm going to tell you why. Without him running, I would have never got a chance to see this side of Trump. I never paid that much attention to Donald Trump before he ran for president. I heard him years ago. I think he's on Larry King, and he was just mentioning some things about politics. And I happened to be flipping through, and I was like, man, that makes sense. That guy, However, when he ran for president, I had to do a deep dive and kind of really observe him. Now, if he would have never ran for president, I would have just only seen him as this guy, this showboaty, and he has The Apprentice, and he has to go way over the top and showing how tough he is and how stern he is. What's the dude, Simon? Simon's not really a mean guy, but he had to play the role of the mean guy, and oftentimes if you're watching the show, you will see him get busted up on the inside and you'll go, oh, a lot of that in the beginning was to create drama. Same thing with Trump. So I was just indifferent about him. I was like, you know what? He's Trump. He's Donald Trump. I heard he's a billionaire and he had a show and so on and so forth. When he ran, and the things that I've seen him endure and go through and how he's treated people, that right there makes him more genuine to me. To be able to observe a person out of the context that you initially kind of perceived. And so now, over the years, somebody said, I can't find your Cash App. Okay, it's in there. Let's see. You know what? Don, if you're there, if you could go to one of my about sections, I'm not sure if you got something you can multitask on, and insert my Cash App into a link or something. I would try it, but I don't know if I can do it from here. See, but now I'm tempted. I'm going for it. Wait a minute. See, now, yeah. Hey, this is a good distraction. I need a blessing, so I'm not even gonna. Okay, let's go here. Kevin's Corner, right there. Click there. Could I find it? Let me see. Where's it at? Hold up. Wait a minute now. Show all. Bam. Kevin's Cash App. PayPal. Cash App me. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to try it. Copy. Go back here. Look at me, y'all. I'm doing stuff. Ha. And paste. And enter. I just pasted it in the chat, and it is stop and think about it. And yeah, so I should have pasted just the link. I pasted the whole thing. So anyway, that's what it is. So thank you, whoever that was. Now, getting back to this. So this time, I've been able to observe Trump in all types of scenarios and dealing with all types of people, which shows the human side of him, shows the compassion that he has. Like when the mother of the police officer in I think it was in New York, was killed. And here he is kissing her hand and hugging her. That right there made me go, oh man. I got a chance to see him at the White House, where he was interacting with all these black folks who gotten freed from prison because of the First Step Act, and they were boo-hooing and hugging on him, and he wasn't going, don't touch me. So if there was ever a time for him to show his white nationalism and his racism, it should be with Mike Tyson. Here he is, about to go and try to become the president again, and yet he's saying, Mike, I want you to speak out for me. I want you to support me. Now, you know the media would take this mess and go, look at him. He hangs out with criminals and former convicted folks and rapists and stuff. Therefore, he must be one. But instead, Trump says, nah, that's my boy then. He's my boy now. And that's why Mike is loyal to him.
He could have easily said that.
Right.
He talked to me about reverencing me. So I ain't going to say nothing disrespectful about him. He never said, he said beautiful things about me. So what do I do? You know, people in my family don't like him. I should say, what do I do? You tell me, Mike. I'm on your show now. No, really. Tell me,
here he is.
You know, I think what you should do, Mike, is just what you just said, straight up. Because obviously we're not talking about, like we mentioned, people that have done really horrible things earlier. And your experience from him is different. And as much as I can't stand this cocksucker, this is me.
What? Did you just call Trump? Did you just call him a tallywhacker sucker? Boy, I tell you, you better be lucky Mike Tyson don't come across there and choke you like a chicken. Dang on it. So now, here he is. He says he can't stand. Now, if you were to ask him why he can't stand him, you would hear nothing but parroted comments completely from the news and the Democrats. That's it. Because these folks who hate Donald Trump don't have their own opinions of Donald Trump. They don't hate him because they just discovered something along the way. They hate him because they were told to hate him. They've been downloaded all of the talking points of why they should hate Donald Trump. Many that probably don't hate him is scared to say they don't hate him because then they'll get attacked. But nonetheless, this guy right here, I hate him. Did you hate him prior to him running against the Democrats? That's what folks don't realize. I always want to tell people, stop for a second and ask yourself, at what moment did my opinion change? What influenced it? Did I come to these conclusions by observing this person on my own, or did someone else say, you hear what he said? Because if somebody else did it, then you need to stop for a second and say, let me do my due diligence. When I became a principal, I walked into the school and the secretary came up to me day one. I'm so glad you're here. Man, it's crazy around here. You gonna clean this place up. I know you is. See, now let me tell you about so-and-so. And then she started talking to me. I was like, excuse me. You know what? I tell you what, I don't need you to inform me about how the people are and all that stuff. I said, I'd rather observe them for myself so I can come to my own conclusions. I don't want them influenced by you. That's what I don't want. I don't want me to go in with a predisposition because the secretary then gave all the dirty laundry. Really, I looked at her and said, you're the one I need to watch out for. You're the one. See, you think you went in favor with me by going, see, when somebody do this, you already know. Listen. Yeah, when she did that, I was like, you're the one. You're the talebearer. So same thing with Trump. People who have common sense should stop and say, did I hate him on my own or was I programmed to hate him? Like this guy.
As the president. Because before he was just Donald Trump. I see him at the parties and shit like that.
Yeah, see, you didn't hate him then. You didn't hate him then. He's not even realizing what he's saying. He's not understanding what he's saying. Donald Trump hasn't changed. Your perception of him have changed based on outside influences. Unbelievable.
Katie, man.
I was hoping he said something disrespectful about me. I could deal with that, but I can't deal with him saying something nice and I think something that's disrespectful about him or against him.
And knowing your personal experiences is...
Yeah, I can't do that. I'm the Tom then. If that's the Tom,
and that's exactly what we'll get called.
Right.
Uncle Tom's.
I got you.
Just some guy like us that became president.
There he is again.
And, you know, he.
Notice what he said. Trump's just some guy like us who became president. That's why he's so relatable. When I was at the White House, Secret Service was unlike Joe, where you're accidentally wandering off. All right, he's on the move again. Yes, that's right. Yeah, code red. Yes, track him down. I'm sick of chasing him. This is like, what, the 10th time today? Unlike Joe, Donald Trump would be moving around and interacting with the people. He didn't look at folks as a threat. He just would walk right out there in the audience and Secret Service be going, you're killing us, man. Shaking hands. I told you, if it wasn't for Secret Service, we probably would have struck up a game of spades. All right, Trump, how many you got? I got 3 in the possible. What about you? Yeah, that's how much he wanted to just hang out amongst the people. He didn't come out there going, ooh, they're black. Someone get my glove to shake their hands. I can only shake your hand with the white glove on. Okay, none of that. So what Mike is saying, even though Trump's a billionaire, he's a down-to-earth billionaire. When I think of him, I don't think of billionaire rich, elitist. I think of him who talks just like he talks, says what he says, and mean what he says. So go over this again, Mike. What's going on?
He was good to everybody when he was giving them free tickets and free hotel rooms. You know, he just became a president, and I guess his politics changed or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I always remember him from being a good guy, paying me a lot of money. Right. You know what I mean? Help giving my friends rooms and free.
Oh, yeah. See, so quick, the media forget all of that, and black folks too. Remember Jennifer Hudson's family got killed up in where? Chicago? Trump called her up, put her in a hotel, just said, stay there as long as you want. Get yourself together. What white nationalist does things like that? I don't understand. I just don't understand. Oops. Went too far. Hit the button. Dang on it. Now, what else did he do, Mike? All right, here we go. Yeah,
Just some guy like us that became president. And, you know, he was good to everybody when he was giving them free tickets and free hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he just became a president, and I guess his politics changed or whatever it is. But I always remember him from being a good guy, paying me a lot of money.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Help giving my friends rooms and free.
Yeah.
Food, you know, so
all that.
I know the president and who he was, and I know that guy too. You know, that's just the real deal. Every time you talk about Trump, people go, you know, what's that stuff again? They click you and they stop you, whatever it is.
Cancel.
See, that's why I could cancel you, motherfucker.
Yeah, you don't want to get canceled by Mighty Mike.
You know what? I decided I had to come over and cancel you. Yeah, I heard what you've been saying about Trump. I don't like it.
So here's Mike talking about cancel you. You can't cancel Mike, dang on it. If that man bit a man's ear off and still didn't get canceled, you can't cancel a man like that. Dang on it. So what he's saying is the truth about Trump, and hopefully these dudes on his little show is not so brainwashed that they can't understand what he's saying. I really do pray and hope this time around more and more black folks wake up and not be blinded by the stupidity. Just do some basic research and have some common sense. So yeah, he's making a good point. Donald Trump has done some things for him, been a blessing to him, and I'm mad at Jesse Jackson because all of the support that he gave Jesse. Donald Trump financed Jesse's 2 raggedy campaigns. Democrats didn't do that. Donald Trump did that. And yet he'll get out there and call Trump a racist and all that mess. Oh, here's Trump right here on Dave Letterman's show explaining how he feel about Mike Tyson when he was in prison.
Mike Tyson was greeted at his door at 1 o'clock in the morning by a woman.
Now, see, this is what gets Trump in trouble. Probably gets me in trouble too. He's a realist. He keeps it real. He's saying, you don't find something suspicious about that? I know we're not supposed to blame the victim. We're supposed to believe all women. But some situations you go, Now that seems a little suspicious. I'm not quick to just jump out there and be like, yeah, he's a brutal animal. I'm sure she was just walking past his room. He opens the door, see her walking by. Hey, you, come here for a second. Yes, get in here. Grabbed her in and just had his way with her. Let's see how Trump interprets what took place.
He then...
Well, we don't need to go through the case again.
Look at Dave. The woman was dancing at 8 o'clock, and this guy's in jail for 6 years. I don't understand it. I think it's wrong. I think
but due process of law prevailed. So
I
then
think
you
he had one of
came
the worst defense lawyers I've ever seen. This was the worst defense. I mean, their defense.
Now see, why is he getting up here defending this black man? I thought he should be happy. Another black man down. Another black man in prison. So now here he is. He's just too honest to try to go along with the narrative so that he could look good. Because by saying this and bringing up these questions, you already know. Oh, I feel uncomfortable. He's up here trying to support Mike Tyson, the convicted rapist. But he cannot forsake his convictions and his common sense. That's why I can trust what he says in the White House. I'm going, that's how he feels. That's how he feels. If you did not bend right here in this moment where everybody in that audience is going, oh, I feel uncomfortable. Surely you won't be bending when you're on the campaign trail and you say what you say and mean what you mean. That's why he's my guy. Let's finish hearing what he said about Desiree Washington, who went to visit Mike Tyson at 3 a.m. or so.
Essentially was that anybody that goes out with Mike Tyson knows she's going to be raped, and therefore Mike Tyson, this is his defense. I think it was a horrible job they did.
Everything you say may be true, but still in all, you can't come in and say, okay, let's put the decision of the court aside. Here, I have a plan.
I never said that.
I said that was the impression people had of that.
What I said really is that Mike Tyson should fight. Mike Tyson should supply millions and millions and millions of dollars to rape victims, and I think that's a hell of a lot better than him sitting in a jailhouse for 6 years. Now, let him do some time, let him do some this, but this man could supply $30 million just from one fight. And that solves a lot more problems than keeping him locked up in solitary confinement doing nothing. I think that Mike Tyson had a horrible defense. But
again, what you're saying is that celebrities maybe should be treated differently than lay people.
That's not what he's saying.
Mike should serve some time and everything else. But to keep a man, here's a woman that was dancing at his door at 1 o'clock in the morning, dancing.
See, these are the things that make me go, So you show up, you know who Mike Tyson is. You know that man during that time was like a pit bull off a leash. Dang on it. You must have had to been the dog whisperer to tame him. So you go up to the dude's apartment or room at 1 a.m. dancing outside of his door. These aren't wise choices. See, I know it might not be popular, but rich, famous people can be victims of folks that want to capitalize off of their wealth and fame. Might even exploit the fact that Mike wasn't wrapped too tight. Yeah, I know this is a guy that if I was to go up there and get into some shenanigans, I would be more likely to be believed than this man who seems to be a little, off the rocker sometimes. Now, out of all of his life, all the girls he could have had, you have never heard any other person say that he tried to take advantage of them. So it would seem that would be kind of a out of the norm behavior. If you know your Mike Tyson can have any girl you want, I'm sure if she didn't want to get busy, he could, hey, you know what? How about you just get out of here? Hey, you, come here for a minute. Oh, I'll come. See, so when Donald Trump was in that van talking about, look, when you're rich and famous, they'll let you do anything to you. It's kind of true. Would she have gone up to that man's room if he was just Yeoman Johnson that worked down the street at the Wendy's or something? I mean, she knew he was Mike Tyson. You go up there. What did you think Mike wanted to do at 1 a.m? Play Yahtzee? What did you think that man's expectation was? Sit there rolling dice? So you go up there and you get in a lion's den. Now, I'm not going to say if Mike Tyson did that, there's still no excuse. If she went up there, she went in there. I don't care if she took her clothes off. If he went and tried to do something against her will, then granted, he should pay a price. But what makes it tough is how it all unfolded. What made you go there? See, these are the things that's going through Trump's mind. Your reaction afterwards. I don't want money. I just want justice. As soon as the man was found guilty, she turned around and hit him with a civil suit for like $200 million. So it's not as easy in these situations to just call some Me Too. Now with Joe Biden, Tara Reid ain't asking for $200 million. She ain't doing that. She didn't come up to Creepy Sleepy's crib. She got cornered down in a basement somewhere with Creepy pushing up on her talking about, hey, they told me you like me. Oh, you know what? You're nothing to me. You're nothing. Oh, come on, stop crying. You'll be okay. That right there sounds way more believable. She didn't bring it on herself whatsoever. But yeah, that's interesting. So here's Donald Trump saying, I'm not falling for it.
We don't need to get into this. We don't need to get into this.
But that's an important thing.
Hey, don't get me hot, okay?
Yeah, everybody's uncomfortable.
You know I'm only kidding.
I know.
So Trump's been keeping it real for many, many years. That's the same Trump that I see when he's on tour, when he's campaigning, when he's in the White House. And that is why that's my guy. Yeah, I see whatever you see is what you get out of him. What you see is what you get. And I'm glad those people in those clips were able to see that. Now, I'm about to show y'all something else. Why Democrats are more susceptible to gaslighting than conservatives. Y'all ready for this? Perfect example. This is why we're in trouble.
I have to cite a survey that was in the New York Times, which is a liberal paper, so they weren't looking for this answer. But they were talking about the question was, what do you think the chances are that you would have to go to the hospital if you got COVID? Mm-hmm. And Democrats thought that was way higher than Republicans.
Really? So you're telling me that a part of our society is more susceptible to hypnotism, to being scared to death, being brainwashed, being gaslit? That's what you're telling me? So let me think, guys. This might be the genetic anomaly that allowed us to evolve beyond the stupidity that we're seeing in our country. These folks, for some reason, are not evolving and they cannot see the gaslighting. They're falling for this. So let's see how many of these Democrats just took it. Like, okay, whatever you say, I believe it, versus us.
41% of Democrats, and the answer is between 1 and 5%.
1 and 5%.
41% of Democrats thought it was over 50%.
What?
Another 28% thought it was 20 to 49%. So 70% of Democrats thought it was way, way, way higher than it really was.
That explains it, guys. That'll do it, man. That's what we're working with in the country, guys. That's a big percentage of bubbleheads walking around the country right here that they thought it was 50%. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many folks will be in the hospital? But yet, all you have to do is go to that mic and tell them the hospitals are filled up. Let's go ahead and put a whole bunch of cars out front and make them go around in circles so that the people would think that, no, we understand you guys are employees here, but we don't have enough folks coming in to the hospital. We want to make it look juicy. See, so they put this dog and pony act together, launched a psych op against folks that were looking at this and going, I don't think it's as bad as y'all are saying it is. What, you're a science denier and you're killing grand people and all of this stuff. Get in your house, put stuff on your face, and get stuff injected into you. These folks thought over 50%, and then I think it was another group of them that was like at 20, 30%, something like that. How about us?
Liberal media has to take a little responsibility for that, for scaring the shit out of people.
All responsibility.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's much harder for every touring act to sell tickets in blue states.
Oh, interesting.
They're afraid to go out of the house.
I see.
Whereas in red states, it's all good to go.
So they got that chicken gene in them. That's what it is. So I guess we didn't get installed in us when we were on the assembly line, that chicken gene and that lack of common sense gene. So they have to live their lives in fear. False evidence appearing real. That's what it is. These folks stayed in the crib, and I still see them riding around in cars with masks on. Still walking around the store with them on. I just be going, good grief. You know how bodying you have to be at this moment to be walking around still like, yeah, this is doing stuff. I'm saying to myself, you're buying into false evidence appearing real. Just stop for a second. I want to just do a psychological evaluation right there in the store. Like, stop, come here, look at me. Listen, look around the store. What do you see? A lot of people. Do they have those on? No. Are they dropping dead? No. Why do you have yours on? Just simple questions like that. What do you think this is doing? You just picked up a cantaloupe. 17 people touched it before you. You don't think COVID crumbs aren't going to go home with you on your hands? I don't understand. At some point, you got to take the mask off. So unless you are suffering from, some type of rare disease, washing your hands constantly in your face, you're probably going to spread it on yourself at some point. All in vain. It's a comfort blanket for them. And I think from now on, you'll probably see some people that would die wearing that thing. So that goes to show how susceptible people in our society is. Now, that amount of people that was that brainwashed are the same amount of people most of the time who are falling for racism is the greatest threat to the homeland. In Ukraine, it's necessary for us to stop Putin. They fall for it. And we're about to expose some things in these next 2 clips of psyops that have been taking place that people fall for. So let's get it.
So I just want to say to those people in San Rafael and Pittsburgh and New York, I ain't going to give it to you. I promise. It's safe. We're doing everything we can. There's distancing. There's masking. Enjoy. Live life.
You did get it.
Embrace life.
You did get it.
You did get it.
I got it after I was vaccinated.
Oh, see, that right there should have slapped Jimmy Kimball right in his face. You did get it though, right? You did get it. Yeah, after I was vaccinated. Go figure. Remember, Joe, if you get the shot, you won't catch it and you won't be hospitalized and you won't give it to nobody. Remember that? Remember how they overlooked natural you know what? And yet, come to find out, it was better than all of them. Unbelievable. But folks fell for it. So, guys, it's about that time, y'all. Y'all go and find yourself your tinfoil hat. Because we are about to go into tinfoil hat territory, y'all. Oh, yes, man. Let's get it.
Senator Kennedy has been shot. Is that possible? Is that possible? Senator Kennedy, oh my God.
My father was shot 4 times. One of the shots, and all 4 times were from behind.
Hold him! Hold him!
Hold him!
We don't want another Oswald! Hold him, Ripper!
Another Oswald. Yeah, that's what we did get. Another Oswald because Harvey didn't do that either. Yeah, so we're getting an Oswald. So this is Bobby Kennedy. He got killed. And we know Kennedy is running for the presidency. Now, honestly, I've listened to him. And if I ever had to vote for a Democrat, I mean, absolutely had to, which I never would. But it would be him. He hates the deep state. I mean, he hates them trying to increase big government and trying to shut down freedom of speech and abusing their power. He hates all the things, most of the things I hate. Now, I haven't sat back and listened to all of his policies, but he's going to have some problems. Even the name Kennedy behind him. One, you already see the Democrats trying to block him. They don't want a debate. They don't want Creepy to have to come out and debate. And of course, before, the primaries, I'm pretty sure they're going to launch assassination character campaign against him. And he also got the thing going on with the voice, which is going to make it hard for people to concentrate because of how he sounds. So there's some things that no matter what you do in human nature is just going to focus on that instead of anything else, but he makes sense and he disagrees with the deep state narrative of what happened to his dad and his uncle.
Another Oswald.
Robert Kennedy Jr. believes that his father, who was the Attorney General under JFK, who hated the intelligence agencies just like JFK did, who wanted to splinter and scatter them to the wind, just like JFK did, who may have reopened the investigation into the killing of John F. Kennedy. Well, that his father was killed by a CIA-affiliated security guard.
What? So they've been at it a long time. These shenanigans. A long time. That's why we got Tara Reid hiding out in Moscow. That's why we got whistleblowers right now getting scared. That's why the FBI came out yesterday talking about if that anonymous person comes forward, I mean, fear for his life. He just might be killed. I'm just saying. Who's going to kill him? Who? I don't know. You tell me. Is it you guys? Who? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? So here he is saying, no, I don't think my dad died like he did. And so this is where the tinfoil hat come in because this is his theory. Here we go.
Actively. Robert Kennedy Jr. does not think that Sirhan Sirhan killed his dad.
There were 77 eyewitnesses in the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel when my father was killed. And many of them had a view of what happened. very few of them could view the whole scene, but they could view parts of it. Everybody, without exception, places Sirhan from 5 feet to 10 feet away from my father in front of him.
So y'all got that? All the witnesses says that the guy who allegedly shot him was 5 to 10 feet in front of Bobby Kennedy. Okay.
He never got behind him. He was always in front with a table between them, a steam table. Sirhan fired 2 shots at my father. The first one hit Paul Schrade in the head. The second one hit a door jamb at my father's head level behind my father.
So the first 2 shots he missed. That is his father. Bobby Kennedy is his father. So the first 2 shots missed. The first one hit his buddy next to him in the head. The second one hit a door behind him. So then what happened after that?
Then he was grabbed by Carl Olker, who was the concierge at the Ambassador Hotel, and by Rafer Johnson and 6 other people. It was a dog pile, and they all piled on him, and they grabbed, the first thing they did was grab his hand. They directed in the opposite direction, and they could not get the gun away from him, and he was...
So they aimed it in the opposite direction after he shot twice and missed Bobby Kennedy. They piled on him. They couldn't get him down, but they took the gun, aimed it in a different direction, and he shot several rounds off.
Powerful as a Superman, they said. They were all trying to take the gun away from him.
This big.
He's a little guy. And he fired 6 shots in the other direction. All of them hit people.
Wow. So he fired 6 shots in the other direction, hitting other people. So if he had, a revolver? I don't know what he had. Nonetheless, that seems like all the bullets are gone, guys. So where are the bullets coming from? The magical bullets. So the guy missed the first 2 shots. They jump on him, turn his arm away. He shoots and hits other people in the crowd. Maybe we can get to the bottom of how Bobby Kennedy ends up getting shot in the back, considering the guy trying to shoot him was in front of him. Missed 2 times and then shot off somewhere into the crowd. How do you get shot in the back from the front?
One person got hit twice, but all those bullets are accounted for. There were only 8 chambers in his gun.
So 8 chambers. All the bullets accounted for.
And 2 were fired toward my father and 6 in the opposite direction. And we know what happened to every one of those bullets. My father was...
So they knew what happened to every one of those bullets. Now, you want to talk about some straight up lying and gaslighting. With that information, that fact, and yet, to this day, they still put that man in prison. Granted, he did try, so he should be in prison. But if he shot 8 times and all 8 bullets missed, then we need to look for a second shooter. The grassy knoll?
Shot 4 times. One of the shots, and all 4 times were from behind. And with a gun that was... and they were all what the coroner, Thomas Noguchi, said, contact shots.
All contact shots. 4 shots from behind. Now, what is a contact shot? A shot that they put the gun right up to you and the gun was pressed up against them. Now, the little guy who got drugged to the ground didn't have that gun pressed up against him.
The barrel of the gun was touching my father. Paul Schrade, who was with my father when he was shot, was a union leader, one of the heads of the United Auto Workers. He was the guy who recruited Cesar Chavez into the labor movement. And he introduced him to my father, and they became best friends. And so Paul was very, very close to my father and was with him. The first bullet that Sirhan fired hit Paul Schrade in the head. And Paul Schrade has never believed that Sirhan killed my father.
Wow. So the guy next to him that got shot in the head and survived, apparently, never believed that Sirhan killed his father. Which, now that I'm hearing these details, I'm starting to question that too. I just want to know how you can make that make sense right there. But I guess when you're the deep state, you ain't got to give no real explanations. Look, man, Kennedy got shot. It was a magical bullet. Lee Harvey Oswald, who was a decent shot at best, managed to get off all those rounds that quick. Like he had a machine gun, automatic rifle or something. And that bullet just went all kind of which way. But we get to this, same thing. How in the world did this man get shot in the back from a guy that allegedly shot him, that was in front of him, all 8 bullets accounted for. Interesting. Somebody said it was Ray Epps.
Knows they shot him, but Sirhan, and so I ended up, Paul forced me to sit down to read the autopsy report, stuff I never wanted to do, and to look at all the evidence that has accumulated since my father's death. And the person who almost certainly fired those shots was a security guard who was holding my father's arm at that time, called Eugene St. Caesar.
Wow. So a security guard that had just got put on that detail was holding his father's arm at the time. Now, if anybody that close, also connected with the CIA, and had his gun drawn, they couldn't take the chance that Sirhan, or whatever his name is, with his bad shot, was going to get the job done. So they had a second person, just in case. And let's hear what he thinks that happened.
And a dozen people saw him with his gun drawn. My father fell back on him, and as he fell, he turned and pulled off Cesar's clip-on tie. Cesar lied to the police about his gun. He told many, many different stories about when he had drawn his gun.
Interesting. Lying to the police about when he drew the gun, had Bobby by the arm, shot him 4 times, and he fell back on him, and Bobby reached back and grabbed his tie, his clip-on tie. Now, it appears that if he was behind Bobby Kennedy when they shot at Bobby Kennedy, if somebody was shooting from behind, that means he would have got hit first because he was apparently behind him. Secondly, how do you account for the gun being pressed up against Bobby Kennedy's back? Only person that was behind him was that guy, the new guy on the job.
He lied. He said he did own a .22. The police didn't talk to him that night, didn't confiscate his gun. The time they talked to him, he said, yeah, I owned a .22, but I sold it a month before the shooting. As it turns out, that was a lie. He sold it a month after the shooting, and he sold it to a man who worked with him in the high security section of the Lockheed factory here in Los Angeles, who then moved to Arkansas, later talked to investigators and said, yeah, he had a receipt from when it was sold, and it was sold in July. My father was killed in June.
Wow. Now look at that, guys. I had to put my tinfoil hat back on. That's right. So now this guy's been telling lies. Now why ain't this guy in jail? Why ain't he being questioned? Same thing with Ray Epps that was put in that crowd. For some reason, they're not curious about it. Some reason they don't want to get down to who Ray Epps really is. Why was he there? Why was he saying go in that camera? They don't want to know about those things. So the man who lied about all this stuff, was on duty, grabbed him, 4 in the back. He just gets the skirt. Where's he at now?
And Caesar told him at that time, this gun was used in a crime, so don't talk to anybody about it. So
Caesar told the guy he sold the gun to, this gun was used in a crime, so don't talk to anybody about it. Yes, the crime was the assassination of Bobby Kennedy. That's what the crime was. And yet he had ties to the CIA. Deep state.
As it turns out, what is a CIA asset? He died about 3 weeks ago.
Wow. He was a CIA asset. You know what? This is breaking my heart to learn this about our country. How evil these people are that's running our country. Now, you don't think that these agencies need to be abolished immediately? I'm not done with the tinfoil hat stories either. I got another one, a special one coming up for y'all too in a second. So now we got the deep state going after politicians.
He died in the Philippines where he's lived for the past 3 decades.
3 decades. The man fled the country, lived in the Philippines for the last 3 decades, and he recently died. And we found out that he was a CIA operative. So yes, this man hates the deep state. They hated his dad. They hated his, his uncle. And our own government took care of it. That is showing you the extent. First of all, it's showing you how long these people have been controlling our country. Number 2, it shows that they're almost willing to do anything to protect their control and their power. And number 3, it shows that they can't be reformed. They got to be abolished. And that man wants to do that. That's why they're not going to let him get nowhere near the presidency. And they're trying to stop Trump from doing it too.
But he's almost certainly the person who killed my father. Now, his job as a security guard that night, he got 5 days before, when it was already known that my father was going to be speaking there.
Now look at that. So when they found out where his father was going to be speaking, that guy gets a job 5 days prior, and just happened to be put on duty that day, right then at that spot. And he also is a CIA operative. Interesting. If I had to guess, or if I had to bet, I would bet what he just said. I think that guy killed him.
And then, the investigation was a botched investigation. It appears to have been deliberately botched by the LAPD. What? It was run by people within the LAPD, all of whom there was a special unit created called Special Unit Senator to investigate my father's death. Almost all the members of that unit were ex-CIA agents.
What? So they put together a special unit investigation, and almost all of them in that unit was ex-CIA, FBI, all that stuff. You see? You see how it goes? We're going to investigate our own crimes. Everything looks good here. Yeah, that's how it goes. And then folks talking about y'all trying to get rid of the FBI and the CIA and yes, absolutely. You don't see the carnage? I'm laying the groundwork right here to show that these agencies are complete corrupt from the rooter to the tutor.
Who had trained in the CIA farm in Virginia and shipped down to Latin America to do dirty tricks work there, and then brought back for this investigation. And they destroyed, before Sirhan's trial, they destroyed 1,200 pieces of evidence.
Wow. So before the man's trial, these dirty rats destroyed 1,200 pieces of evidence,
including all the bullets.
All the bullets,
and about 1,200 photographs as well that were taken in the room that night.
Got rid of those photographs that were taken in the room that night. Woo! What a cleanup job! Just like they did when Kennedy got killed. Clean this mess up. No, you can't examine a body. Let's get him out of here. Put him on a plane. Take him away. All of that mess. Are you kidding me? And what was that X on the ground for? Where that Lincoln stopped right over there. All right, guys, I'm in place. You want me to stay here until all 4 shooters? Okay. All right, ready? Don't hit me, guys. All right, I'm with you guys. Okay. All right. Now we're going into some other territory. The tinfoil hat is about to come out again. Tucker's back.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson.
Hey, Tucker.
This morning it looks like somebody blew up the Kakhovka Dam in southern Ukraine. The Russian wall of water wiped out entire villages, destroyed a critical hydropower plant, and as of tonight puts the largest nuclear reactor in Europe in danger of melting down.
But what about the environment? Where's Greta Thunberg? How dare you blow up that dam? How dare you? So, somebody done did a sabotage again, and I wonder who is it?
So if this was intentional, it was not a military tactic. No. It was an act of terrorism. The question is, who did it? Well, let's see. The Kakhovka Dam was effectively Russian. It was built by the Russian government. It currently sits in Russian-controlled territory. The dam's reservoir supplies water to Crimea, which has been, for the last 240 years, home of the Russian Black Sea Fleet.
Yeah.
Blowing up the dam may be bad for Ukraine, but it hurts Russia more. And for precisely that reason, the Ukrainian government has considered destroying it. In December, the Washington Post quoted a Ukrainian general saying his men had fired American-made rockets at the dam's floodgate as a test strike.
A test strike.
So really, once the facts start coming in, it becomes much less of a mystery what might have happened to the dam. Any fair person would conclude that the Ukrainians probably blew it up.
Yeah.
Just as you would assume they blew up Nord Stream, the Russian natural gas pipeline, last fall.
Yeah, you would think
In fact, the Ukrainians did do that, as we now know. It's not like Vladimir Putin is anxious to wage war on himself. Oh, but that's where you're wrong, Mr. and Mrs. Cable News consumer.
What?
Vladimir Putin is exactly that sort of man.
Wait a minute. Now they're making me go right back into conspiracy theory world. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that one. Can't buy that one. So you're trying to tell us that Vladimir Putin decided to blow up his own dam?
Sort of man who'd shoot himself to death in order to annoy you.
Yeah.
We know this from the American media, which wasted no time this morning in accusing the Russians of sabotaging their own infrastructure. Bill Kristol, the man who once told us that Saddam Hussein was responsible for 9/11, immediately denounced Putin as a war criminal and even more savagely compared him to Donald Trump.
Oh, God. There we go. So I already know whenever they start doing stuff like that, they're up to something. Immediately start demonizing anybody who questions stuff. Poor Saddam Hussein just went over there, killed that man. Killed him. Same thing with Gaddafi. Bunk it. Let's just go ahead and kill these dudes. Let's make up something. Yeah, they're harboring weapons or something. I don't know. I'm sure he's responsible for 9/11. Oh, what? It wasn't him? It was bin Laden? Now imagine them doing that to our country. Killing our leader by just making up a story and then find out that it was a lie. You know, find no evidence, no weapons of mass destruction. And then the person who you're blaming for blowing up the towers, totally different person. But you done went into a sovereign country and killed a man. Not to mention, many of our soldiers lost their lives. I had a buddy in Desert Storm. I had a buddy over there, and he told me horrible stories. But yet, that's what our government has done. And got us all souped up and juiced up, supporting that mess too, man. I'm sitting there like, okay, I guess we supposed to, all right, America, darn it. Now to the point where I'm going, every time this come out, all right, this is something we have to do. This is necessary for national security. I'm going, I don't know. I'm starting to wonder, are we the baddies? Are we the baddies? And I'm not talking about our citizens, because we have good hearts for the most part. We have been co-opted, though, by some evil, corrupt people who most of them aren't even elected. And then they install folks who people think they elected. And then they start doing stuff like we're about to hear.
The rest of the pundit class made similar, clearly coordinated noises. Putin did it! Putin did it!
Yeah.
And their reasoning was simple. Putin is evil.
There you go. He's evil. That's the only motivation. See, now, you know what the Democrats and the deep state are? They're bad writers. When you create a villain in a movie or anything, you have to give them more depth than they're just evil. Their motivation is evil. They don't want to accomplish. Thanos was one of the best written villains of all time because you got a chance to empathize with him and understand his psyche behind it. He had certain laws and rules he played by. You know, there was regret. Even though he did things, he was convicted, thinking, I have to do this, but it grieves me. You were able to connect with him. Others, you just say, that guy's doing everything for what? He's just evil? There's no real rationale to what he's doing. He's just, all right, I'm just evil. So if you have someone who's doing things based on you just saying that person's just evil, but they're telling us that they're doing stuff that would hurt them, what would evil make you do that for? Yes, I'm so evil. I'm going to blow up my own pipelines and sabotage them. Yes, to show how evil Putin is. That's not evil. That's stupid. But these folks are coming out here trying to tell us that's what he did. He blew up his own pipeline and blew up the dam. What strategic advantage do you get from doing that? Unbelievable. But they don't even care, man. I forgot. We just saw the survey about all the folks and 70% of Democrats believe that, you're going to be hospitalized at over 50%.
And evil people do evil things purely for the dark joy of being evil. In this specific case, Putin attacked himself, which is the most evil thing you can do, and therefore perfectly in character for a man that evil. That was their explanation. No one who's paid to cover these things seemed to entertain even the possibility it could have been the Ukrainians who did it. No chance of that. But Ukraine, as you may have heard, is led by a man called Zelensky. We can say for a dead certain fact that he was not involved. He couldn't have been. No. Zelensky is too decent for terrorism. Now, you see him on television, and it's true you might form a different impression. Sweaty and rat-like, a comedian turned oligarch, a persecutor of Christians.
You hear Tucker laying that sarcasm like we're so used to hearing. That's right. So, yeah, that slime ball that came over here and had the nerve to ask us for money and then walked out while we had to suffer through a whole bunch of bootleg folks going, brilliant, brilliant. That was Reaganist. That right there was like Churchill. Yeah, he gets it. We're committed to this war, even though the American people aren't. Even though we're going, y'all didn't check in with us. We don't get a say. We don't get a vote. And then y'all want to gaslight us into supporting this crap. How many times have y'all fooled us before? Y'all tried to trick Trump into going back over into Syria and acting a fool. Tried to trick Trump into overreacting to Iran. Tried to trick him. Always wanting us to get involved in some type of squabble. Why? What's wrong with these people, man?
A friend of BlackRock, but don't believe your own eyes.
Oh,
Actually, Mr. Zelensky.
So Zelensky is mixed up in that cabal too? Who do you think's controlling him? Pulling them strings, huh? Yeah. See, and when I see Republicans get on board with this war, I always go, what are you getting out of this? All that money we're sending, are they funneling it back through somehow to your campaign? Are you benefiting somehow out of this? Because there's no justification or reason that we should have our big noses in that going on over there. Dropping all kind of money. And listen to how committed we're supposed to be to this.
He is a very good man. The best, really. As George W. Bush once noted, he is our generation's Winston Churchill. Of all the people in the world, our shifty, dead-eyed Ukrainian friend in the tracksuit is uniquely incapable of blowing up a dam. He's literally a living saint, a man in whom there is no sin. That's why Lindsey Graham is so attracted to him.
Yeah.
They're just two good people.
Speaking of Lindsey, the rhino, dang on it. Once this document come out that exposes how corrupt Joe is, I wonder if Lindsey's still going to be talking about, I mean, how could you hate Joe Biden? Joe Biden's a great person. He's lovable. Everybody loves him. He's my friend. I wonder if he's going to still stick by that. But yet, threw Trump under the bus after J6. And yet, you don't see all this corruption with Joe and still speak highly of him. Whenever I see Democrats and Republicans get along, they're probably rhinos.
Hanging out together and being good. And like all good people, when they meet in person, they spend a lot of time talking about killing people and laughing like friends do. Here's the pair last week.
Free or die.
Free or die.
Now you're free.
Now you're
Yes.
And we will be.
And the Russians are dying. It's the best money we've ever spent.
Look at that.
Thank you so much.
No, it's
The Russians are dying. It's the best money we've ever spent, Graham says. A smile spreads across his thin, quivering lips as he forms the words. He looks like a starving man contemplating a breakfast buffet. The aroma of death has aroused Lindsey Graham. Thanks so much, replies Zelensky.
When is his term up? Is anybody going to rival him? Challenge him something, man. I heard Mad Money Mitch is giving up. Get him out of there too. A whole bunch of them. Romney, get him out of there. So he's talking about that's the best money we ever spent? No, I don't think that. I can see so many other ways we could have spent that money, Lindsey. The wall. How about all of these American citizens in our own country that's struggling? How about paying for some security guards to watch over the schools that all these Democrats are around saying, the kids are vulnerable? How about that? But we're sending it over there with no accountability of what they're doing with the cheese.
He feels the same way. See, there's nothing dark here. It's just two middle-aged guys celebrating the killing of a population.
That's it.
They don't seem like the kind of people who'd enjoy flooding villages or starting a famine. And in any case, who cares if they are? It's really not your business.
It's not.
Your job is to support Ukraine. Watch Nikki Haley, a Republican candidate for president, explain this principle on CNN.
So wait a minute. Don't tell me what to think. You're not the boss of me. Deep state, fake bootleg uniparty. So, like last night, and I can't get off this, guys, because we got to have our minds together so that we're not influenced by this type of propaganda, even if it's coming from our own party. We got to train our ears and eyes to sniff out this type of doo-doo when they're trying to tell us it's chocolate. So now here's a Republican on CNN telling us, well, we got to go ahead and support this Ukraine war.
A win for Ukraine is a win for all of us. And for them to sit there and say that this is a territorial dispute, that's just not the case. To say that we should stay neutral, it is in the best interest of America. It's in the best interest of our national security for Ukraine to win. We have to see this through. We have to finish it.
Well, this next song goes out to Zelensky. You can't win. You can't break even and you can't get out of the game. People keep saying things are gonna change, but they look just like they're staying the same. Y'all ain't gonna win that war, man. I hate to say it. Not without our help or intervention, which would be dumb. Because I don't want our boys going over there dying for this stupidity. So what is up with this? Why are they doing this, man?
See, it's very easy to understand. It is vitally important for you to support Ukraine because it's necessary for Ukraine to be supported by you. Your support is mandatory until it's finished, whatever it is, and whatever that means. So shut up and support Ukraine or else you're in trouble. Back when they still taught logic, statements like this were known as tautologies. Something is true because it is. The more you repeat it, the truer it becomes.
There you go. And that's how they've been treating our citizens. Look here, all right? Don't ask no questions. I'm right even if I'm wrong. They're treating us like the old school parents. Well, why you get to do that? Hey, man, don't ask me no questions. I'm your dad. I'm right. Period. No justification, no rationale. Just do it, all right? Because I say do it.
It's a self-reinforcing reality. There was a time when tautologies were considered illegitimate arguments, not to mention hilariously stupid. Only dumb people talk like that. Now everybody in power talks like that. Diversity is our strength. Trans women are women. Zelensky is Churchill. It's all self-evidently true.
And everything he just said right there is the complete opposite. And you got that percentage of people that I talked about in the beginning of the show that believe that everybody's in the hospital from COVID. They'll believe that mess. Changing their flag to the Ukraine flag, the pride flag, and saying we got to support children and transgender folks who are being eradicated by the thousands. Sitting back talking about diversity is our strength as they are using it to destroy and tear our country apart and turn us against each other in the name of diversity.
Doesn't need an explanation, and don't ask questions. Sound familiar? Of course it does. That's the pap they're serving us day after day.
Every day.
In steaming, lumpy portions. By this point, it's possible that American citizens are the least informed people in the world.
Oh, God, that hurt, guys. But is it true? But is it true, though? Because, yes, I mean, I see it all the time, man. You'll talk to somebody about something and go into politics, and they have no clue what's going on. I guarantee you, if I went right now to Walmart, the majority of the people in there, if I say, hey, have you been seeing what's going on at the southern border and the border crisis, the immigration crisis? What? No, I didn't even, what's going on there? I mean, what's up there? What did I miss? No idea. No idea. They will wake up in a whole different country and you be going, when did they change all this? And when did we implement this and this and that? You didn't see it? You didn't hear them talking about this? You didn't see them on TV saying, from now on, 87,000. You didn't see that? Okay. So you wake up in tyranny. You went to sleep last night in freedom and woke up in tyranny. It's fresh to you. You didn't see the progress happening. So you're right. And they have been putting in a lot of groundwork, doing these psych ops to make sure that they're able to implement their diabolical scheme. And we're about to point out a couple examples.
Your average yak herder in Tajikistan knows who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. It's obvious. Does he think some skinny dude in a dress is actually a girl? Come on, that idea would never occur to him. No. You've got to be lied to at full volume over a period of years in order to reach conclusions like that.
There you go. You see how it works, y'all? That's gaslighting 101. Get everybody together to say the same thing and make the same person seem crazy after a while. That's what it is, man. I don't care what you tell me, though. You can have everybody on the planet talking about a little boy can be a little girl, and I'll still be going, That psych op is not going to drop in my head. That's for sure. So that's what they're doing. And yet we got folks going, well, you never know. I mean, things are, it is 2023. And I'm going, how many times did you hear that to where your brain start to say, well, let me open up to this idea. What point did you lose your sanity, man? They convinced you that often. Now, honestly, it's powerful. If you think about it, if you had a party and somebody came over to the crib and y'all all agreed to tell somebody there's a spider on the wall and everybody's in on it except the guy that got invited. And you go, oh my God, look at that spider up there. And everybody go, oh my God, ugh. And the one guy's going, where y'all talking about? There's no spider up there. Dude, you can't see that spider? No, there's no spider up there. What is wrong with y'all? Look, hey, y'all see it, don't y'all? Yeah, we see it. You don't think that person would start questioning his sanity? He would start going, okay, wait a minute. Why is everybody else seeing this and I can't? That's what gaslighting is right there.
Of course, we have been. The media lie. They do. But mostly they just ignore the stories that matter. What's happened to the hundreds of billions of US dollars we've sent to Ukraine? No clue. Who organized those BLM riots 3 years ago? No one's gotten to the bottom of that. What exactly happened on 9/11? Well, it's still classified. How did Jeffrey Epstein make all that money? How did he die? How about JFK? And so endlessly on.
Woo, now Hunter, you're starting to go down that rabbit hole too. That's why I didn't put it away yet. Yeah. Those are questions we all have. But we never get those answers. They never circle back and update us on that stuff. Instead, what do? The white nationalism is the greatest threat to the homeland, and we must protect trans kids. That's what they do. Oh, and Trump is an existential threat.
Not only are the media not interested in any of this, they are actively hostile to anybody who is.
And that's the telltale sign that they in on it. They're all working together. And I've been right the whole time with my tinfoil hat, y'all. The hat don't lie, man. The hat doesn't lie. Let's continue.
In journalism, curiosity is the gravest crime. Yesterday, for example, a former Air Force officer who worked for years in military intelligence came forward as a whistleblower to reveal that the U.S. government has physical evidence of crashed non-human-made aircraft.
What? Stop the press. Stop the press. So you telling me that they done got an aircraft or something like that and it ain't on the news? The whistleblower ain't? Okay. Now, I do have some theories about these, how should I put it, extraterrestrial beings. And I got a clip here that I'm going to show y'all that's going to really take you down that rabbit hole, man, of a former FBI agent that reveals what a lot of that stuff is. Now, I personally think that the entities that these leaders are interacting with are actual demons. That's what I believe. And I'll tell you why as we go on down that rabbit hole. Here we go.
As well as the bodies of the pilots who flew those aircraft. Okay. The Pentagon has spent decades studying these otherworldly remains in order to build more technologically advanced weapons systems. That's what the former intel officer revealed, and it was clear he was telling the truth. In other words, UFOs are actually real, and apparently so is extraterrestrial life. Now we know.
Now we know. Now, I'm really going down that tinfoil hat trail, because here's a former FBI agent who worked in that division of kind of the paranormal, supernatural, and all that stuff. And he left when Big for Nothing James Comey got in because he knew James Comey was evil. And he's whistleblowing on what's going on with these dang on aircrafts and unidentified objects. Check this out, y'all. It's deep. Oh, yeah, the foil hat time.
And I'll tell you the next step. It's a little difficult to hear, but the next step, because they need to keep building up the fear of these UAPs.
Fear.
Next step is really for the UAPs to start shooting down our commercial airliners and our military jets from the skies. And that, I believe, is going to be happening very, very soon.
Because I think about a year ago, you said publicly on an interview that I caught that, hey, the government is going to use some sort of a UFO invasion, a fake UFO invasion story. And you laid it out specifically. And then wouldn't you know, a few weeks ago, we have Chinese balloons and UFO invasion. And I remembered that interview. We featured it on the show, and my audience was like, holy smokes.
So wait, let me get this straight. All of a sudden, as secretive as the government has been about UFOs all this time, they recently decided to become very generous when it comes down to telling us that, yes, we do have UFOs out there and all that stuff. We've been monitoring this for a long time and this and that. Kind of warming us up so that if something should happen, we will go where they did tell us about it. But why now? Why are they now becoming so generous with the information? And then when they say they shot one down, they never show us the footage. They never show us the wreckage or any of that stuff. So this guy right here exposes what these unidentified objects really are. But he's going to say something that takes this to a whole nother level to support my claim that these things are really demons. Here we go.
He got it right.
And yes, all that you were saying is correct. I am John D'Souza. I was a special agent investigator in the FBI for 25 years.
This UFO flap, this Chinese balloon story.
Hey, this cheese balloon.
You, over a year ago, were saying they are lying to us what they're going to do next. It's already prepared. They are going to tell us that a UFO invasion is coming. It will be used as a story. There won't be a UFO invasion. It'll be used as a story. And then I couldn't believe this all. I mean, it was all laid out there. It all was coming to be. Oh, it was Chinese balloons. Now maybe it was UFOs. Now it's UFOs. And now we're really ramping up the Pentagon awareness about it. And my side of it has been that they want to use this story to spend money. The military-industrial complex to continue to make billions.
That's one reason, but it's deeper than that. They've been prepping society for a long time to embrace the UFO phenomenon, starting years ago. Now, reason I say that these are demons, there's an event that will occur if you're a Christian believer that will blow the minds of all the folks on earth, because it will become clear that the Bible was true concerning Christ Jesus and his second return. That event is called the rapture. It is the secret appearance of Christ to the church only, and they are taken in the blink of an eye. No matter what you're doing, where you at, you could be on your motorcycle and whoop, gone. All you see is the Harley rolling down the street. You can be driving a bus trying to take the corner. Whoop, gone. Bus hit whatever it hits. Folks won't be able to handle that reality. They will go, oh my God, everything grandmama and them told me was true. We all been left behind. But what would be a convenient excuse is that no, rapture, come on. We have reason to believe that there's been a worldwide UFO abduction. We've been monitoring these things for the last, I think it is a demonic preemptive strike to have an excuse for when the rapture occurs. And these demons have been interacting with leaders down throughout the years, taking on different forms, talking about, I am an alien from wherever, I'm an alien from there, and we're here to help you. They're coaching them right into the end times. That's what they're doing. These folks think that we're acquiring technology and let's be real. People are seeing something. They're seeing something. The question is, are they seeing what they think they're seeing? Because demons can manifest themselves physically as well. So now, if I'm Satan, you got to think like the enemy and you got to think like the hero. If I'm Satan and I'm saying, how can these stupid humans who are always looking for answers to life greater than them, they don't want God, but they want to know the mysteries of life. And how can we obtain, power? How can we obtain everlasting life outside of God? Send them some demons to start saying, we're here for you. We can answer those questions. And trust me, we can help you with your technology. We can help you. And all they're doing is coaching these folks right into the end times. That's what they're doing. Providing answers to develop technology, all of that stuff. Right after World War II, all of a sudden, we just start booming with technology, man. Where did it all come from? So I think what this man is saying has validity to it, meaning the guy that's the whistleblower, yeah, he's probably like, hey, we got something, but I don't think these people know what that something is. I think these people think that these little grays and the tall grays and the whatever, the lizard folks, I think they think they're really aliens, but what they are is demons. And watch what this guy right here with the FBI says, which really drives it home.
Billions of dollars and using Space Force as the next way to do that and all of this. So am I wrong about that, or could you elaborate on that? And how did you know that this was going to be the case, that they were going to use this story to scare people?
The way that I knew was through my investigations that have been painstaking over the years, and also my information that I get from the intelligence community. In the intelligence community, which is the people who have worked with and been around the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, all this, and also the intelligence agencies of other nations, of the other English-speaking nations,
like who?
Which includes many countries, because we also count
India,
Israel in that as well, and many others. And so we have a way of sharing information to each other, which is through something called raw data and rumor. Raw data. So that we are not violating any secrecy. We're not violating any top secret prohibitions. So we're able to talk to each other about rumors, about things that may possibly be true. And the thing is, today, when you're in an atmosphere of complete and total deception, like we are today.
Complete and total deception, like we are today. And if he ain't never lied, right about now, that's why we got to stay mentally grounded and spiritually grounded and stick together, man. Don't let them break us apart, okay? Nothing can tear us apart. That's what we need, because we are constantly being bombarded by information and deception to try to lead us away, and so these folks can have a clear path to what they want to do. So now, watch what he says about these so-called aliens.
Then rumors become possibly life-saving, potentially life-saving at this point.
Right.
And that's where we are. That's where we are today again. So that we are actually able to latch on to important rumors, raw data that is running around, and we're able to share it. And that's a large part of how I get my information and how I get the things that I have. My book, The Extra Dimensionals, which lays out everything that we've been talking about. It lays out the fake alien invasion. Anybody who follows me knows that I've been talking about this for several years.
Fake alien invasion. Isn't that interesting? So in the Bible, it says the second, or should I say third, coming of Christ, meaning after the rapture, 7 years of tribulation takes place, then he will return once again. Now, these demons been telling these folks for years. If you listen to a lot of whistleblowers, they'll say they're telling us, they're helping us because at some point we're going to be invaded by another out of terrestrial beings out there. They're going to invade the earth, and we're here to help you. We're trying to get you prepared to be able to fight against an outside invasion. Now, that second return where Christ comes back to wipe out the earth, that says in the Bible that the Antichrist and all the nations will actually try to fight against that return. They will try to say, all right, this right here, here's the invasion. We're ready for it. They will actually try to fight against Christ coming back. Now, the only way you can get people to buy into something like that is to start pumping this into their heads for a while. So they will not interpret what is taking place as a biblical phenomenon. They will interpret it as a alien phenomenon. These aliens came and took millions of our citizens, and I heard they're coming back. We got to prepare. See, this right here is a great way to get people to be deceived and not recognize the truth of the Bible. While these demons are sitting, pumping them up, talking about, we're here to help you guys. We don't want you to hurt yourselves and the environment and all of that stupid stuff. And these idiots are buying into it. So let's continue, though.
For several years now. And the main part of that prediction is that we would have this, you hear this buzzword, UAPs.
UAPs?
UAPs. Right. Rather than UFO.
UAPs rather than UFOs. Why would they change that acronym, y'all?
We had this elaborate operation. It's a psychological operation, PSYOP, that has gone forward since, I would say, about 2012. But it actually goes back to 2004 because the New York Times, the great launch pad of all giant psyops, the New York Times actually in 2012.
Did you hear that? The New York Times launches psyops. That must mean that the New York Times is a state-owned media propaganda company. They use them to push out the propaganda. No way, former FBI man.
I believe. Revealed, or maybe may have been later than that, revealed this UAP operation where the Navy has basically, the U.S. Navy, United States Navy has actually taken over the UFO, the entire UFO genre from the Air Force.
Why would they do that? So the Navy took over the whole UFO phenomenon from the Air Force. Interesting.
Because all of these things, UFOs, UAPs, should belong to the United States Air Force, like they always have since Roswell.
So the Navy took it over, and what did they do?
Now it's been shifted because they decided to move into this UAP phenomena, where in 2004 we had a bunch of these sort of silver-colored.
Remember
and
that?
what they are is they're top secret drones. They're drones that possibly use anti-gravity technology from possibly Roswell. That was technology transferred from Roswell. And so we have all of these UAPs. And in 2004, we had a final giant experiment off the coast of California.
Off the coast of California. Now, all of this stuff that folks been running around for years saying, I saw this, and the government's denying it. Now, all of a sudden, they released this video of our our Navy pilots tracking this thing. They released that video. Why would they do that? Why would they release the video now, man? Interesting.
In the Pacific Ocean, where we had the no less a military force than the U.S. Nimitz carrier group, battle carrier group, that was off the coast of California and created a safe space for this final experimentation. That's my description of what happened. In the New York Times and all media around the world, it was described as, well, the Nimitz carrier group just suddenly happened upon these UFOs.
So wait a minute. Are you telling me that video footage that we all watched where those pilots were like, there it is, man, that sucker's moving? You're telling me they just weren't out doing a patrol and happened to just run across these unidentified objects and capture the film? You're telling me this was a controlled psyop? No way.
And they kind of use softer language to describe UFOs, but they said, oh, this group of UFOs were buzzing around and they were at incredible speeds. And here's the pilots' conversations.
I heard that
they had at the time to tell us about this. And it's incredible. It's amazing. And then we had that was the launching of the UAP phenomenon across this country.
And it's a psychological operation. So it was all controlled, was what you're saying. This idea that that we knew that U.S.
So you can't believe your own eyes. You telling me just like Nancy Pelosi put together that video of her down in the basement with her daughter recording her to make it look that way? Remember yesterday doing my live show where I showed that they put sound to these folks breaking into the Capitol and all right, we've been breached. We don't even know what we're watching sometimes. You could watch something and say, see, look, you saw it, didn't you? So now all of those pilots who claim they just stumbled across those flying objects, those are drones with super technology. But who owns these things? Who owns these devices? And what are these devices going to be used for, Mr. FBI man?
USS Nimitz was going to be there, and this was all sort of planned for this to be launched and sort of disseminated to the public. So these drones, these craft, are they U.S.-made craft, reverse engineered from down Roswell craft, or are these otherworldly beings, otherworldly craft? What does your intelligence tell you about that? If you were involved in the X-Files program,
well, you had about 3 questions there, and I would say yes, no, and yes. But
okay, go for it.
The answers are that no, they are man-made. Man-made things. They are recognizable by the signature silverish sort of skin that they have. It's this, but the shapes tend to be different in every case. There are some that are cigar-shaped. There are some that are larger. There are some that are much, much smaller. Some of them are those tic-tac shapes, those kind of ovals. So they're all different shapes and sizes. However, they have the same signatures of the movement that they are capable of. However, the way that we know they're not.
Y'all ready for this? And this is what the difference is between a UFO and a UA or whatever you call it. Something like that. All right, y'all ready for this? And this is why I say these are demons.
True UFOs. True UFOs can be extraterrestrial and extra dimensional. In other words, they are usually, they have capacity for shape shifting. They have a capacity for disappearing and reappearing.
Now, what does that sound like to y'all? Demons, spirits, the ability to be interdimensional. These mugs aren't coming from other planets and showing up. Do you know we would be able to see them like miles and miles away? If we could see a star as far away as they are, you telling me if something broke into our atmosphere, as many of these things that just be popping up out of nowhere, you're telling me we wouldn't see it? These things are appearing and disappearing. Some of this stuff that we think we're witnessing and we find it to be cryptic and stuff like that are demons. I saw a video where they even talked about how Bigfoots, Sasquatches are demons. That's why you always see them bad boys just disappear. I'm thinking to myself, if I'm out in the bushes and somebody is recording me, I can't just step behind a tree and disappear. And I'm nowhere near the size of a Bigfoot. Okay, but them bad boys, you'll be filming them, then all of a sudden they'll go in a small bush and gone, just like that. All of this crap that is popping up, disappearing, manifesting itself, all of that stuff is designed to take one's mind away from being grounded and having your faith put in God and just throw it into all of this supernatural stuff. Distract folks with a whole bunch of mystic stuff. You know, it's not that these people aren't seeing something. It's, do you make that something into a religion? Do you start saying these are things that make me feel like I've been taught wrong or everything I believe should be questioned? That's what they're designed to do. It's designed to make you question everything. If you are Christian, I'm only talking to Christians right now, but it's designed to make you start questioning things like, well, if God made us, and he said that we're here, what's up with all of these extraterrestrials? There got to be something up to them. Yeah, they're here to deceive. That's what they're here to do. And we don't have to worry about an alien invasion, guys, because God said he's given man dominion over this planet. So ain't nobody coming here to mess with us except for when Christ comes back for us and then come back to judge the world. So I'm not worried about ET coming down to deal with us or do that and all that stuff. I ain't worried about the Predator, even though they funky with the dreads. I'm not worried about that. Now, this man just straight up said that they're interdimensional and can shape shift.
That is one of the ways that we know genuine UFOs are afoot. We're able to see those qualities in them. These Tic Tacs, these UAPs don't have those
They
abilities.
can't disappear.
However, I do believe that they have the ability to destroy things. And that's why they're being built up.
They have the ability to destroy things, and that's why they're being built up. So then who controls these things? Who controls these devices? Is it us, the U.S.?
They are not. And this is the thing we're struggling with even now in our Congress, in our Senate, and in other places. They are man-made, but they appear not to be made by the United States per se. It appears that these vehicles are man-made. Indeed, they are, but they're not made by the United States. They appear not to be made by Russia or China. However, it does appear that our global aerospace companies probably had several hands in creating these things.
The evil emperor. So the globalists are pretty much coming together and making these devices? I'm concerned. This man is from the government. Yes, he was. He left when James Comey came in because he said Comey was corrupt and he left. But he was actually the guy that they built. You remember, what's the dude? Oh, man. Scholar and whatever. What's X-Files? They started the X-Files based off of this guy's work. He was the first guy who got in there and start looking into these, phenomenons. And so they would take stories that he could share with them and they would, make X-File episodes out of it. So he worked in that area for years. And this is a long interview, so I just cut it up just to bring this point since Tucker was talking about these UFOs. You should watch this interview. I'm gonna put the link in the bottom of this video because he talks about some stuff, man, where I'm going, wow, that is real tricky what our government is up to. And now he's about to expose the corrupt cabal.
He's talking about McDonnell Douglas, Raytheon, and several other companies that really don't consider themselves American. They're actually
don't consider themselves American. You think George of the Jungle considers himself American? These are globalists. Schwab are Democrats. So, of course, they would want to control something like this.
they're actually global companies. And he said, it looks like those guys had some kind of hand in creating these UAPs, but it appears they are not under the control of the United States or any other nation. It really leads to several other conclusions that, well, then who's controlling them?
Yeah.
And it appears that the ones who are controlling them are the deep state, which is not an American organization.
That's why they need to get removed. You hear that? The deep state, which is not an American organization. So even though we got some up there in Washington pretending to be American and this and that, no, you're operative. You're there to make sure you protect the dang on interests of these globalists. Joe Biden's another one of them. You know, Zelensky's another one of them. And I got a feeling Putin's not. That's what I got. I got a feeling Putin's not one of them. You know, that's why he might have occurred the raft of all of them. So if I'm getting this straight, man, this is controlled by the deep state, which don't consider themselves American. These are all folks from this global network who have trenched themselves into certain countries, and they all kind of got a hand in this. Interesting.
Deep state, the cabal, the power that is over nations appears to be controlling them.
Wow. And so not even the military. They done probably broke off a section of military people this above our military. Y'all are here for a certain special type. Y'all guys, the military kind of for us. These globalists, this group of evil folks, they want control over that mess. For what, man?
That fits in perfectly with them eventually building up this campaign of fear in the nations, which is what they're doing right now, to make people fear these UAPs, ultimately towards, and I'll tell you the next step, it's a little difficult to hear, but the next step, because they need to keep building up the fear of...
Y'all hear that? They're using their old tactics of fear, meaning this: we can't keep telling the people something's going to happen and it doesn't happen. We can't keep telling them that global warming is the biggest threat and folks still got sunshiny days. We got to start doing something to increase the level of fear. So here they are starting to go ahead and warm us up with all of these appearances of these controlled, advanced, whatever drones they've created, and making folks think, oh, wow, man, there's aliens running around. But how long will folks observe that to where they become kind of tolerant, indifferent? Yeah, no, there's an alien flying around, another UFO just fly by. At some point, you got to go from being on the pot to pooping. And so they want to intensify the fear?
These UAPs. Next step is really for the UAPs to start shooting down our commercial airliners and our military jets from the skies. And that, I believe, is going to be happening very, very soon.
So we've heard for decades that these are benevolent, that there's not, and now we're going to start to hear, they're going to start to use this story with these man-made craft, whether by Raytheon, whatever, to start creating problems, you know, so that we think that these are some otherworldly beings, but they're really us doing it.
Now you're talking. You want to control a whole bunch of people? Do something like that. Yep, we've been warning you for years, starting with the movies, Independence Day and all that stuff. Yeah, y'all are no longer, sitting back unfamiliar with the possibility of an invasion. Then we suspiciously just start talking about it as the government, who never talks about any of this stuff. But now we're sharing. We're sharing. We want you guys to know that we do have some stuff. We done capture some things. They're out there. You see all these things flying around? Then you go from that to, now we want to go ahead and demonstrate that these things are hostile and dangerous. Now, you want to talk about locking people down, making people sit back and say, hey, man, y'all better give us some safety. I'll do whatever it takes. That thing shot down something. That thing blew up something. That right there would make people throw their hands up real quick and say, government, do whatever you want to us. Just keep these things off of us.
And they're going to start shooting down aircraft now. That's crazy. And I've heard similar things. So I'm not, what you're saying comports with what I'm hearing separately. And it's scary, but I want to know, what's the end goal? Okay.
Control.
Three-dimensional chess, the deep state, the cabal, what they want, the World Economic Forum.
Power.
They want control. They want a control of our money supply. They don't want any sovereign states. We know that.
One world
they
government.
Want a global environment that they control. Unelected leaders. What do they want in this situation where they would want to start taking down aircraft?
The end goal is, and this is a long-term psychological operation, as well as physical operation as well.
Physical.
The long-term goal is ultimately to put together this grand operation called fake alien invasion. Now, the only fake part about it is going to be that the alien visitors are involved with this. They're not at all. Everything else is going to be real. The destruction that they bring to our cities is going to be real. That's what they want to do. And that's the reason that they had to divorce because of what you
from
just
the
said.
military. They couldn't keep this within that amount of people in that branch of the military and come up with something like this. So they're going to fake something. And that's scary because right now we're seeing them fake stuff all the time, guys. We watched the video last night on my show where that whole J6 thing faked. That's the problem. We don't know what we're looking at. And if they can start producing a manifestation of these devices doing stuff, it will give them complete control over this earth. Complete control. Yeah, people might fight back against men, or at least people they perceive to be men. But now, when something like that happens, you ever want to unite the world under one world government? Do that. In fact, I think it might have been, I forget which, it might have been Reagan. But one of them said that what would make the whole world come together is if we fought against something from another galaxy. It would show that, oh, we all are together. You want to bring forth a one world government, start doing stuff like that. Yeah. Going ahead and saying, look, we're being attacked from outside of our atmosphere. These things are coming in. No time to be looking at, well, we're China or we're Russia. We got to become one world. Interesting.
That is the reason why this operation had to divorce themselves from the label UFOs. And they had to
told y'all tonight was tinfoil hat night.
UAPs. And the ultimate goal, again, as I said, is fake alien invasion, which will not be pretty holograms. And the reason is because they're saying, oh, well, fake alien invasion is going to be just a bunch of holograms from Blue Beam Project. From the Blue Beam
that's what people be thinking.
And no, that's not what it's going to be. It's going to be these very physical. And this is another thing. If anyone follows my work, alien visitors and UFOs are not physical.
Real alien visitors and real alien so-called crafts are not physical. Y'all get that? They're not physical. These folks or these things are interdimensional. No need to shoot them. Try to shoot them out the air. They're not physical. They're spiritual.
In the way that we are. They are just not physical. And that's something I first learned from the FBI in a document that was handed to me as soon as I got into the FBI as what we call a control file. Alien visitors and UFOs are not physical.
And
they are
UFOs.
not physical. They are from another dimension. They are from another dimension of reality, and they can kind of manifest physically here for short periods of time. And the same is true of the
Then they got to go back to hell. See? Yeah, they can manifest on Earth for a short period of time. Then they got to go back to hell.
UFOs that come with them. And so these are the things that we need to look at so that we can tell when the government is lying to us, when they say things like, we just shot down a bunch of UFOs. We just shot down. We're not going to show you any of the materials.
Yeah, they never show us.
We're not going to show you anything or tell you anything about it. But yeah, just trust us that we shot down.
Trust us.
Real UFOs cannot be shot down.
Bam! Y'all hear that? Real UFOs, because they're spiritual, they're interdimensional beings, cannot be shot down. That's why they be spinning their wheels when our jets be trying to go after stuff, and we can't keep up with it. It's going all over the place. Even if you caught it, what you gonna do with it then? You can't shoot it down. So therefore, if an alien appears in your bed in the middle of the night, talking about I'm here to take you to the mothership, don't get scared. Just roll over and say the blood of Jesus and go back to sleep. That's all you got to do. Yeah, because you're not talking to an alien. You're talking to a demon. Same thing if your great grandmama appear in your house. Nope. Yeah, that's not her. That's a demon. Don't be talking about I'm here for you, baby. I done came back from the dead. I rebuke thee, great grandmama. All right, go back into the grave. Until time to get resurrected. So Tucker, he's going to end us within like the next minute or so.
In a normal country, this news would qualify as a bombshell, the story of the millennium. But in our country, it doesn't. The whistleblower's account ran on a technology website called The Debrief, which you've probably never heard of. The Washington Post had that story, but decided not to run it. The New York Times, meanwhile, just pretended it never happened. On the front page of the New York Times website this morning, there were 5 stories about Ukraine, as well as 4 stories apiece about Donald Trump, trans people, and climate change, the usual lineup. There was nothing at all about how an alien species is flying hypersonic aircraft over our cities. Not one word. So if you're wondering why our country seems so dysfunctional, this is a big part of the reason. Yeah. Nobody knows what's happening. A small group of people control access to all relevant information, and the rest of us don't know. We're allowed to yap all we want about racism, but go ahead and talk about something that really matters and see what happens. If you keep it up, they'll make you be quiet. Trust us. That's how they maintain control. When Western tourists first started traveling in large numbers to the Soviet Union in the early 1970s, they found that many Russians had a completely warped understanding of the United States. They thought that Americans lived in grinding poverty, in a state of perpetual race war, and were desperate to flee to the freedom and prosperity of the Eastern Bloc. They thought this because that's what they had been told. They had no way to know otherwise. The few Russians who understood what was really going on in the rest of the world had learned about it from listening to shortwave radio broadcasts, sometimes under the covers so the neighbors wouldn't hear. 50 years later, it is bewildering to consider the ironies here. We're the ones who live in ignorance now. The US government has managed to classify more than 1 billion so-called public documents. So at this point, we can't possibly know what our leaders are doing. We're not allowed to know. By definition, that is not a democracy. Yet it's fine with the media. Secrecy is a powerful tool of control. Stop asking how we got so rich. Here's another story about racism. Go eat each other. That's the program.
Yeah, you can play around with that. Y'all playing the kitty pond over there, okay? Yeah, go over there and fuss about transgender rights and racism, misogyny, and stuff like that. We'll handle the big stuff, like starting unnecessary wars, laundering money, and stupid stuff like that. Shutting down our economy, creating a one-world government. Yeah, we'll handle that. You guys go and fight amongst yourselves about civil rights and mess like that.
That's how most of us now live here in the United States, manipulated by lies, silenced by taboos. It is unhealthy and it's dehumanizing, and we're tired of it. As of today, we've come to Twitter, which we hope will be the shortwave radio under the blankets. We're told there are no gatekeepers here. If that turns out to be false, we'll leave. But in the meantime, we are grateful to be here. We'll be back with much more very soon.
So, like he said, we hope to be that radio broadcast under the blanket. That's what we all are. All of us commentators on these small channels but big platforms, that's who we are. And they're trying to snuff us out, just like during that time in Russia where they're like, we listening under the covers, but a neighbor just might hear. A neighbor might say, I heard Smirnoff next door listening to that propaganda coming out of the U.S. Maybe you should go over and do something to him, Stalin. That's where we're at right now. They're definitely targeting anybody who is a voice of reason, who is exposing any of this crap, who disagrees with this crap. And God forbid you get a following and start growing a little bit big. Then you become public enemy number 1. And then I'd have to worry about trying to be unexisted or something like that. I don't want to be Kennedy'd. I don't want to be Jeffrey Epstein or any of that stuff. But you know what? It's a small price to pay. Dang on it. Just know Kev ain't suicidal, y'all. See, I ain't big enough to on the radio. They're like, he's a small fish. Leave him alone. He's good. We'll have YouTube keep him suppressed. He's fine. Let's move on to some big ones. But anyway, God bless y'all. God bless America. Thanks for hanging out with me. We went 8 minutes over, but it was 10-4 hat time. So I had to break out 10-4 hat, and I didn't want to leave y'all hanging with, you know what I'm saying? So please, if you want to support the channel, I think I put all of my links to do that in the chat but they're definitely going to be in the about section under this video. And as soon as I get done, I'm chopping up more short clips, and I'm going to be uploading those from all of our live shows. These are also converted into podcasts, so you can go on to any podcasting platform and listen to the show via podcast. And follow me on Rumble in the Jungle, y'all. Okay? God bless y'all. God bless America, man. So the next time y'all look up and see something flying around, you be like, man, they're the deep state folks again, man. Always playing games, man. Yeah, man. Put that remote control, whatever, jigger down. That's what's going to happen. So God bless y'all. God bless America. Now, I will say this. That's why I said we had to put on a tinfoil hat. Because, like I said, that man, he's no longer with the FBI. He came out and he wrote about this stuff, and he's exposing stuff. I got a gut feeling he's on this. He might not be 100% accurate on everything. Who knows? But I do know a lot of this stuff we're watching and witnessing ain't what it seems. And I definitely know these darn aliens running around communicating with folks, they're not aliens. I definitely know that. So, all right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and bounce. Thank you so much. We just gave in the super chat. I appreciate it. I really, really, really do. This is our city. Yeah, our state. Yeah, our coast. Up north, got our hands around y'all throats. Yeah. Take care.